It's happened again. It's happened again. England, you've done it again. Oh, this wasn't the start I thought I'd do, but at the same time, this wasn't the video I thought I'd be making. I was hoping it would be more of a joyous up and down the streets of Ealing till fucking 5 AM in absolute raptures. But instead Argentina decided not to do that. I will admit, that hurts. That really does hurt. And I cannot believe England have just thrown that away. They've finally got to another World Cup semi-final, the first time since 2018, and the exact same result happened. England won, Argentina 2. Yeah, I'm probably going to be waffling a lot in this video, because I decided to against the more scripted videos that takes 2 days to come out and more of the raw emotion after the fact. I've basically just got a bunch of notes compiled on this monitor here, and that's all I'm doing. I'll see what happens. I'm devastated, I'm heartbroken. I genuinely believe this year was England's year, but the performances have slightly been on the downhill since Mexico. Either way, I am really proud of what England that they've got this far. I mean, got to the quarterfinals 4 years ago, semi-finals in the year before that. 4 years before that, sorry. I didn't think England were too bad, to be honest. They weren't great, but it wasn't terrible by any stretch of the imagination. Like, I thought they started the game really well. The first half was actually quite good. Very rough and very aggressive from Argentina, but that was kind of expected. I felt people always thought it was going to be this political. No, as in, like, politics were always going to be intervening. I feel like I'm describing this shit. It was always going to be a tense game because it's a World Cup semi-final, but it probably would have been made even worse because of the history that England and Argentina have. David Beckham, Maradona, the Falklands. So, given the fact we went in 0-0 at half-time, I was actually quite impressed. And then so, for England, the second half is where I felt it definitely did go downhill. But at the beginning of the second half, the warning signs did kind of look there in the first 5-10 minutes because Argentina were pressing. But then against the run of play, Anthony Gordon went and scored the opener. So everyone forgot about it. And it was absolute limbs in the country. We were so happy. But then it felt like Southgate ball had completely come back with Thomas Tuchel, because as soon as England went 1-0 up, Tuchel basically pulled out the stops, went all defensive, completely parked the bus. And so England were barely able to get out of their own box, really. They could barely get out of their own box, let alone their own half. So, yeah, this allowed Argentina to basically take control of the possession, and it wasn't helped that, yeah, despite they were trying to park the bus, England, there was no pressure on Argentina whatsoever from what I saw. It was like that in the first half, but it was like that especially in the second half. Like, there was some pressure, but Argentina was still able to just do what they wanted out on the pitch. And there was no England player actually completely pressing them like Argentina were whenever England were on the ball. And yeah, football is about momentum, and once Argentina started keeping the ball, you could feel that an equaliser was coming. And with the more and more Argentina went on the ball, naturally, the more and more influence Messi had with this game, unfortunately. As Argentina gained more of that momentum, they brought on more attackers to help with that, while England brought on more and more defenders. So then when it gets to the last 10-20 minutes, England are basically have their backs against the wall. Argentina just keep coming and keep coming. So much so that by the 85th minute, Enzo Fernandez fires a screamer. No. So much so that by the 85th minute, Enzo Fernandez scores a complete screamer. And yeah, I'll admit it had been coming. Enzo had been trying it the entire game. He'd missed. I think he tried. That was his third time. No, third or fourth. Either way, he'd been trying it numerous times before that. They'd all gone over the bar, and ironically, when I was just about to put on my tweet or Instagram saying, "Try it at Chelsea, lads," he scores it. So, there is this. There is this. And there is this. Enzo, mate, I fucking love you, but Jesus Christ, you are an absolute prick tonight. The celebration is, I'll probably put a clip of it as well, or find a picture of some sort. The celebration was way too over the top. Yeah, sure. It had very much been the second team for most of the evening. It wasn't really necessary. But as soon as that goal went in, Thomas Tuchel's next bright idea was, oh yeah, let's just keep parking the bus and playing how we have been. And the line had been broken now, so Argentina were very, 7 minutes after the Enzo goal. Very easily. Ball in, I think it was from Messi again. Lautaro Martinez gets on the end of it. Pickford can't do anything. Goal. 2-1. It was punishing from Argentina. And yeah, I reckon Tuchel is partly at fault for, I want to say both the goals, but nah, I'd say he is at fault for arguably both of the goals. Because something I saw before I came over here, it was, what's the BBC presenter, Mark Chapman was saying, when Spain went 1-0 up against France yesterday, they still looked in control. They were able to get another goal because they were able to look in control. They didn't park the bus. They didn't go look for another goal. I reckon England should have done the same instead of parking the bus. Because that's such a Southgate thing to do. Go 1-0 up, park the bus, concedes, end up losing. That's what happens in the last two Euros finals. Last World Cup, it definitely happened in the last World Cup semi-final as well. Trippier scored a beautiful free kick, parked the bus. Croatia came, Croatia scored, and it wasn't extra time, but it was like the 90th minute or something. So, yeah. It was also very much, I thought we would win this game as well, because Argentina have not looked good. They won 3-2 against very mediocre sides. You can't be winning in the 110th minute of extra time against Cape Verde. Then they won in the 94th minute against Egypt, 3-2 again. Enzo Fernandez scoring the winner. Yeah, it seemed only natural that they would do the same and come back from behind. It was what England did in the last Euros, so I quietly hope Spain will give them their comeuppance. But at the same time, the World Cup final is very much a game where I hope both teams lose. Argentina because they just beat England, Spain because they beat England at the Euros. But yeah, Once again, the same film we've seen before. We've seen it all before. What's the lyrics? What is it? Yeah, that's it. Everyone seems to know the score. We've seen it all before. They just know they're so sure that England's gonna throw it away, gonna blow it away. But I know they can play, 'cause I remember 3 lines on the shot. Jewels remain still gleaming, 60 years of heart never stop me dreaming. I may have altered the lyrics, but even so, it rings out so well. And it's so disappointing because, yes, Argentina won tonight. I know, I still reckon we could have won, but I think we let them back into the game. And it's just heartbreaking that we essentially threw it away. And yeah, the wait goes on. Imagine if it takes 100 years for England to finally win the World Cup. Or will England have to play it on home soil for them to actually win it again? Either way, congratulations to Argentina. They were the better team in the final 10 minutes or so, because they knew what to do. They'd been in that position before in the last World Cup and in the last few games. They had the mentality, they could just push through. And like I've said already, for England, it's just heartbreaking because it is very much an opportunity missed. Spain haven't been that great either. It's basically just Marino and Inshallah. So we could have had a chance to win the whole thing. So now, have I brought on the blame game? I think now's a great time to. I'm 15 minutes in, Jesus Christ. The blame game. I reckon the blame should go to one man, because one man has been getting it wrong the entire time, and that man is I show speed. Genuinely, I'm trying to make it humorous, but I'm still depressed. I genuinely think there must be an investigation into this man. How is it that every time he's supported a team on a live stream, that team has always lost? And I also mean when Argentina and Switzerland, because yes, he wore an Argentina shirt, but he supported Switzerland and they still lost. Then, I've said it before and I'll say it again just to basically just hammer it in. Thomas Tuchel, you tried the Southgate special, go 1-0 up and just park the bus. That wasn't what it was needed. Argentina, Messi's proven why he is. Why people say he's the GOAT. He's not, but actually that's debatable. But yes, Argentina have proven why they are the world champions. And so I reckon England, and especially Thomas Tuchel, will be kicking themselves. It is now also very much croquet this week on an international level. Actually, we've tried the humour. I can't do it. I was going to get a cricket bat and try and play golf or croquet with it. What about 100 push-ups until the World Cup final? To just forget about the England depression. We'll see. But even then, I think I'm basically just repeating myself at this point, so I'm just going to finish by saying maybe Argentina didn't win because they were miles better than us tonight. Maybe they won because when the biggest moments arrived, they just stayed calm and we didn't. And they had the mentality that we didn't because they've won it before, they know what to do. Whereas England, it was a great squad, but there are lessons to take into the next World Cup, and hopefully it will come home eventually.